Hello, Michelle Berry Franco here with part 3 of How to Speak and Write So They Can't Help But Listen. You're viewing me in my retreat space right now. I'm doing my annual planning, preparing for next year, thinking through what I want the year to look and, more importantly, feel like. So I'm going to give you a view. I'm going to show you what it looks like out my window here in just a moment. But let me just go over what we're going to talk about today. We're talking about how to keep their attention. So in our first session, we talked about what is your message and how to get it really, really clear. The second session, I went over how to get their attention, really how to dig deep on who they are and what they care about so that you can share a message that really grabs their attention and tells them, hey, listen, I can help. So now today I want to share with you how to keep their attention once you have their attention. And I'm going to start with, we're going to talk about visuals, we're going to talk about emotional, keeping their attention emotionally, and then we're going to talk about how to use examples that keep their attention. So let's start with visuals. And on that note, I'm going to give you a quick view out my window here. I'm staying at a resort in Virginia, very close to the West Virginia border. And I have this very sweet room that has these great French doors with that view. And I show you that for a couple of reasons. One thing I'm going to guess about you is that you care about the view out your window, and that retreat time and space matters to you, and that you get it about how important it is to take that kind of time to surround yourself with some beauty so that you can be creative and so that you can give back in the very soulful way that we soul-inspired business owners do. And also just as kind of as an example of how visuals can keep attention. 1/3 of our brain is dedicated to visual stuff. I just heard this neuroscientist at a conference I was at a couple of weeks ago, and that's what she said. I knew visuals were important, but 1/3 of our brain, we have a lot of stimuli coming in from a lot of different senses. And yet that much of our brain is dedicated to visuals. So keep that in mind. Not only is it really valuable to use visuals to draw them in and keep their attention, but to remember that the visuals you're using, or that you might not intend to be using, that might be in your surroundings, can be terribly distracting. Which is why the PowerPoint presentation or a presentation slide deck can be your greatest friend and your worst enemy. You can read more about that in Soul Power to Your Message, which is going to be out in just a couple weeks. That's my book coming up. But I will give you more. There's more about that on my blog too, so you can learn about it right now. I talk about PowerPoint presentations and the importance of the visuals being truly beneficial. So I guess what I want to say about the visuals part is, what can you add visually that will help keep their attention? Look for images that you can add to your blog posts, and you may already be doing that. I know that's a very common practice. Can you add some to your newsletter? When you're creating your next speech, what visuals can you use that will evoke the most emotion and keep their attention? So let me use that as a segue to our second point, which is really connecting with their emotion when you're sharing your message with them. So yes, you want to give them content. Yes, even the concepts and the background might be important, but if they're not emotionally engaged, you're going to lose their attention. So 2 ways to keep them emotionally engaged is visuals, like I just said, and then storytelling. And I often hear from people that they feel as though they are not good storytellers. And here's what I want to say to that. You just need practice. You just need a little framework for how to tell a good story. So you can get a handout right here on this page that will help you pull out the details that will guide you in telling a great story. Those stories just really go straight into our hearts and minds, especially if we're telling stories that resonate with this particular audience. And then finally, another way to keep their attention is to use examples that are about them, that reflect their life experience. And again, in Soul Power to Your Message, I give this example about avocado. You are a cosmetic expert, a natural cosmetic expert, and you've been called in by the Avocado Growers Association. Well, what are you going to talk about? What kind of examples are you going to give them? Probably a lot of examples that have to do with avocados and how they're used in natural skincare, right? So think about this particular group. What subset of my expertise can I share with them in the form of examples that will resonate immediately with their experience? So that's today's lesson. I'm so glad that I get to be here with you here for a moment. As always, I am a reply away. Send me an email if you have any questions or ideas or suggestions. I always love hearing from you. Take good care. See you in a couple of days for part 4. Bye-bye.